August 26, 2025, Assembly District 63 special general election. That's a mouthful. We just had our special primary election for a recently vacated Assembly District seat. Unfortunately, no one got 50% plus one, so we have to go to a general election. Yay. So this is the observer panel for the general election. I'm going to get started with introductions. I don't know if we have a spare mic anywhere. We'll start in the back with staff and then we'll move forward and then I'll switch to online.
Hello, everyone. My name is Horacio Vargas, Elections Coordinator for Riverside County Register of Voters.
Alberto Esquivel, Elections Coordinator as well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Valle. I'm the Executive Secretary for the Register of Voters. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Elizabeth Floor. I am the Public Information Officer.
Hello, I am Leticia Flores, Chief Deputy for Candidate and Voter Services.
Hello, everyone. Alice Kim, Chief Deputy over Operations.
Hello, my name is Patricia McPherson. I'm an Elections Technician 3.
Miguel Borges, Elections Technician 3.
And then our folks from the public, if they could just introduce themselves for our folks online.
Vivian Dykes, Wildemar resident.
Tom Dykes, a humble member of Riverside County.
Jim Niederrecker, Riverside Election Integrity Team.
Greg Langworthy, Riverside Election Integrity Team.
Bill Weston, I'm observer.
Thank you very much. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to our folks online. I already introduced Marie, our Spanish interpreter, but she just wants to pop on, say hi.
Hello, everyone. I'm here for anyone who would need interpretation services. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you. And I see Daniela Torres.
Hi, everyone. My name is Daniela Torres. I'm with the City of Coachella with the City Clerk Department.
Thank you. And I see Edgar Angulo. Oh, Edgar, you're muted. I saw you come off mute real quick. He might be having some audio issues. Okay, we'll move on to Delia Granados. Uh-oh, can't hear you either. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay, and Art Tinoco.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join. Welcome to the Election Observer Panel Orientation. Again, very happy that everybody was able to make it either in person or online. But I will be joining online this morning and hope that you do find the information extremely useful, especially for this upcoming August 26th Assembly District 63 special general election. So again, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thanks, Art. Okay, we'll get started. Let me queue up the presentation. Okay, Riverside County Register of Voters is committed to upholding election laws and regulations to ensure integrity, transparency, and accuracy of the electoral process. That's from beginning to end of the process. In this election observer panel, the purpose of it is to maintain integrity of the election process, to provide a means for the public for meaningful public observation and of the election process, and to encourage participation and build voter confidence in the election process. And I'll get into more of what is observable and kind of the do's and don'ts. So election observers are afforded access to any one of our vote centers, any one of our drop-off locations, any one of our ballot processing centers. We only have one ballot processing center here at this complex to observe voting and election procedures. That's the entirety of the election procedures from LNA to when we receive the ballots, to how people vote at a vote center, all the way to the count night or when we start tabulating ballots. Election observer guidelines outline the rights and responsibilities of individuals from the public who observe the election process, including a list of guidelines and actions in accordance with relevant elections codes. So everyone should have in front of them or be sent a kind of guideline. It just kind of breaks down the hard and fast rules of observation. You're allowed in observable areas. If you don't feel your observable area is big enough or you feel kind of cramped, let us know. We'll try to accommodate as much as possible, but we must focus on the process itself. What you can't do, there's kind of a list of it, physically handle materials, things in that nature, talk on the phone, take pictures, do anything that would interfere with the process or interfere with the judgment of an election official. Okay, so take a good look at that and we can go right through it. So like the primary, this selection is going to be very similar. There's approximately 313K voters in this area, similar to last primary election. There's a county voter information guide that was sent out, was that Thursday, Leticia? Last Thursday? Last Thursday was sent out to those registered voters. Unfortunately, no candidate statements were submitted on time. So it's kind of a barren book, but if you get it, take a look at it. It'll show you all your drop-off sites and vote centers and other pertinent information. We have 22 ballot drop-off locations throughout the AD 63, and also the ROV acts as a drop-off location. We have 11-day vote centers plus the ROV. I'm sorry, 6 11-day vote centers plus the ROV and 6 4-day vote centers plus the ROV. Ballots are going to be mailed this Monday, 29 days before the election. So look out for those. Election night results, I'll get more into that, as well as the canvass and certification process. So here are the important dates. The voter information guides, English and Spanish, went out on July 17th. Monday, E-29, the July 28th is when vote by mail start going out in the mail, as well as our drop-off sites become active. 29 days throughout the election. So we have city clerk offices that are open. Check your local city clerk hours for that to find out when you can attend those. Non-city clerk locations open 10 to 3. And then our two 24/7 drop boxes that are have a camera fixed on them at all times in front of this campus. August 11th is the last day to register to vote. Voters may also do same-day registration through Election Day, but in order to get a ballot in the mail, E-15 is that date, which is August 11th. Our 11-day vote centers open up August 16th for in-person voting, 9 to 5. Open for observation. And then the last day to request a vote by mail ballot is E-7. Otherwise, our call operators will recommend you going to vote in person because a ballot will not get to you in time by E-7. The 4-day vote centers open that weekend, August 23rd, 9 to 5. And then all vote centers and all drop-off locations are open on election day and night, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's our Super Bowl day. That's our longest day here. And then the last day to receive vote by mail ballots that are postmarked by the USPS on or before election day is September 2nd, which is 7 days after the election. We will be certifying the selection 17 days after election day, which is September 12th. The law says we have 30 days, but we feel we had to do the primary in 9 days. So we feel we can do this a lot quicker. So we're heading towards a 17-day canvass period with certification day being September 12th. This is what our materials look like. You have in front of you a voter information guide. So it's mailed to every registered voter. It contains all vote centers addressed and times. The vote by mail drop-off locations, dates and times are open. The sample ballot, and this one doesn't contain candidate statements. They typically do. Excuse me, they typically do. This one, unfortunately, no candidate submitted one on time. And to the right of that are our vote by mail ballot envelopes. So they might look a little different to everyone. This is a new design we are implementing. The reason for the new design is to ensure that this is fully compliant and fully accessible through ballot tracks. Ballot tracks is a tracking system run by the Secretary of State where you can track where your ballot is in the mail. So if it's sent to you, you can punch in your information. Oh, it's, USPS, it should be sent to me. Okay, it's coming. When you drop it in the mail, it'll also hit that, hey, it's sent to ROV. It should be there at this date when it gets here, and then finally when it's credited. So it's really the cradle to the grave of tracking your envelope. These start mailing out Monday, July 28th. They contain the ballot and voting instructions and other important information. There's 3 ways to return it, by mail, by drop-off location, or you just go to a vote center and return it. Here's just a close-up look of the English and Spanish covers showing AD 63 boundaries. Here's kind of the guts of the book. It's really a smaller book this year. So kind of by that. Okay, election transparency measures. So public lodging actually just took place today, right before the election observer panel. Live streaming will begin Monday, and it will go throughout the canvas period and will be on 24/7. We will be offering public tours. Elizabeth, public tour dates? Perfect. And I'm sure that's going to be blasted on social media and perfect. So just to give you a kind of behind the scenes, if you haven't been to our offices recently, we've undergone a lot of renovations. We've kind of broken down some walls, repurposed some areas because the ROV is growing and our processes are kind of, we've always needed kind of more room to expand some of those and make us a more efficient, more productive team. We've done a lot of renovations, so you'll see that, and that'll be pointed out on any tour. In case you missed logic and accuracy, I'm going to go ahead and play a short video for you. Please enjoy.
Logic and accuracy. A series of pre-marked test ballots are prepared, then ran through the high-speed ballot made available
Okay, got it. No, it's fine.
to the public at the start of the testing. This ensures the high-speed ballot scanners accurately record the choices marked on the ballots. Also tested within is the system's ability to handle overvotes and undervotes, which occur when someone marks more ovals than allowed in a contest or fewer votes than required. Results of the test are thoroughly documented and submitted to the California Secretary of State.
The results of the logic and accuracy tests ensure our voting systems are reliable, accurate, and secure. On behalf of the team at the Register of Voters, we will continue to work diligently to ensure every vote counts in the County of Riverside. Your voice, every vote, our future.
Okay, so that was a little bit of snippet on logic and accuracy, so we'll move forward. Okay, let's talk about the voter experience at our 12 vote centers, including the Register of Voters or not including the Register of Voters office. There'll be at least 8 to 10 election officers at each site. There'll be a check-in laptop to pull up your voter information that's on a secure internet connection. We put out 10 ballot marking devices or tablets, which are not connected to the internet, as well as a paper ballot on demand, should you wish to vote off that, which is also not connected to the internet. If you miss the registration deadline, you'll be issued a conditional voter registration and have to fill out a little bit more paperwork so that we can validate you on the back end towards the end of Canvas. There's also language services, including ASL at each one of our vote centers, and there's accessible voting services at each one of our vote centers. Okay, here's a little video about our vote centers.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Art Tinoco, the Registrar of Voters for the County of Riverside. In the days leading up to an election, our vote centers offer a secure and accessible way to cast your ballot. Voters can cast a ballot at any vote center in the county, regardless of where you live. Here's a look at what you can expect when you visit one of our vote centers.
When you arrive at a vote center, you will be greeted at the greeter station by an election officer who will direct you to the check-in station, where they will verify your voter eligibility and ask if you would like to vote using a paper ballot or prefer to use a ballot marking device known as an accessible voting unit. If you choose a paper ballot, an election officer will print a ballot using our Ballot on Demand printer. You will then be escorted to a private voting booth, where you can use the provided pen to fill in the ovals next to your chosen candidates or measures. Accessible voting booths are available if needed. If you choose an accessible voting unit, you can choose between English or Spanish, or use the provided headset for translation assistance. After making your choices, print your ballot. Now it's time to submit your marked ballot. Election officers at the vote centers will be happy to walk you through the process or answer any questions you might have. Curbside voting is also available at our vote centers. Also, if you have a completed vote-by-mail ballot, you may drop it off at any vote center. Just don't forget to sign the envelope. To find a nearby vote center, visit the County of Riverside Registrar of Voters website at voteinfo.net.
On behalf of the team at the Register of Voters, we will continue to work diligently to ensure every vote counts in the County of Riverside. Thank you.
Okay. So what happens on election night? Polls close at 8 p.m. We will have our first reporting at 8:20, and that will be vote by mail and any early voting in person results we have. We'll release them at that time. And then at approximately 9 p.m. is when the first vote center results would hopefully come in. I think last go around we had about two or three maybe vote centers in at 9 p.m. and then the rest came later on. And then we'll pretty much just report on the hour every hour until midnight or until we're done. We're hoping to get out of here at midnight. If it takes till 1, we'll stay to 1, but we're anticipating around midnight. Let's talk about some observable activities here. So this election observer panel is today. We also have our warehouse lodging actually taking place, I believe, at 2 p.m. Yep. So that's another observable activity. The logic and accuracy test, vote by mail envelope processing that's an old date. Didn't see that one. That all actually can happen. Starting 7/28. So that really is hit or miss. Typically, we don't see the volume of ballots early on. Closer to election day, we'll see a higher buildup volume of vote by mail ballots we get. So you might want to check in with Elizabeth or with any of us to see, hey, what's coming in today? Do you expect a lot? Or is there anything in the mail today where we can watch signature verification or one of the other processes in place? Tabulation of the ballots, that starts after 8 p.m. And then that Thursday is when our 1% manual tally starts, as well as our roster audit. The dice roll will happen that Thursday, and then they'll continue the next day with 1% manual tally. So we do have flowcharts available and QR codes next to them of every observable process in that life of the ballot. So we encourage you to kind of take a look at this. This is currently where those processes are taking place. It's a little bit outdated. We do have a new area that was provided to us by the ACR where we will be handling our 1% manual tally. So just talk to one of our friendly observer guys at the front and they'll guide you to it. Our website, that's where we put up all the pertinent information for the August 26th special general election. So please check that out. The website is also where you can go to find all of our live streams. Should you want to check in any live stream, again, our live streams will go on live and be 24/7 until certification date. So it's all right there. And I think I have, yep, one more video. There we go. And this is the life of the ballot.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Art Tinoco, honored to serve as the Registrar of Voters for Riverside County. At the heart of our mission are three core principles: fairness, transparency, and accuracy. We're here to invite you behind the scenes to witness firsthand the meticulous processes in place. Our goal, ensuring that every ballot counts. Each step is rigorously certified, a series of checks and balances that adhere to the Voters' Choice Act. Our commitment is simple: to uphold the sanctity of your vote. Join us as we unravel the mechanisms that safeguard your voice in our democratic process. Let's explore together how we ensure every vote matters in Riverside County.
Under the Voters' Choice Act, you have three choices to cast your ballot. First, you can vote by mail by dropping your ballot in the mail. Make sure you signed the envelope. Another option is to take your ballot to an official ballot drop box. Or you can vote in person at any county vote center. All ballots are delivered to the registrar's office where they are processed and counted. Each voter's ballot envelope has a unique barcode to ensure registered voters vote only once. The Registrar of Voters uses a high-speed envelope sorter to process returned vote-by-mail ballots. The equipment takes a digital image of every single envelope. The image is then used by staff to compare the signatures on file for the registered voter. If your signature matches, your ballot moves on to the next step. The most common reasons a ballot envelope is further inspected happen when an envelope is not signed or the signature doesn't match the voter's registration card. If the signature doesn't match, the registrar's office will send the registered voter a form to verify their signature by a certain date. This process is called curing the signature. When voter signatures are verified, ballot envelopes are opened and the ballot is removed and unfolded to prepare for the ballot scanners. The scanner counts the votes. The registrar's office has 10 high-speed ballot tabulators that simultaneously scan up to 90,000 ballots per hour. All machines are certified by the California Secretary of State. The system also includes 8 dedicated adjudication stations. In case the vote scanner cannot read a ballot, staff inspect that ballot to ensure the ballot is counted as intended by the voter. What if a voter messes up a ballot? This can happen when coffee is spilled or the ballot is torn. The scanning machine is sensitive and the tabulator won't be able to read the ballot. Staff will print out a blank ballot and a 2-person team will copy all the votes by hand and process through the scanner. How are the results protected and secure? Scanners extract all the votes from the ballot and save the data until the registrar is ready to certify the results. For security and accuracy, the system is not connected to the internet. Provisional ballots are researched and processed once the registrar ensures the voter hasn't cast another ballot. The registrar then certifies the election and results are final.
I hope you've enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look into our processes. Remember, the Registrar of Voters Office is here for you should any questions arise. And on election night, we extend an open invitation to the community to witness our process firsthand as election observers. Your involvement matters, your voice matters, and we're committed to transparency. To stay updated on the status of your ballot, visit voterstatus.sos.ca.gov, because every voice, every ballot counts here in Riverside County. Thank you for joining us. Together, let's continue to make our democratic process stronger and more inclusive.
All right, fun fact, I did the guitar work on that soundtrack. No? Oh, I would have done the guitar work, but they didn't let me. All right. And so any one of those processes on the life of the ballot is open to observation whenever it's taking place. And I believe this concludes our presentation, so I can open it up for some question and answers. If you don't have our address, phone, website, or email, well, we didn't include our fax. We still do faxes, right? Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'll go ahead and open it up to questions. If you're online and you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand and I'll get to you. If not, I can open it up to the floor. Sure.
I have a microphone.
Sure, yeah.
At the vote center, when I show up, they're going to check to say I'm registered, and then they're going to check my signature. And we said EIMS software is used for the signature check.
Yeah.
When that passes, I assume the poll worker makes an entry in the software that says I've now voted. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
And is it that transaction that ultimately ends up with the counts that show up in the ballot return report?
That is correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So when you do the 4-up signature check and the ballot signature is accepted, is it the same scenario where it's EIMS and you accept, and that
is
adds
correct.
another input to the report?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
So that you use the EIMS system to generate the ballots returned by return date, right? That generates that report. So, and you don't use ballot statements. Should not the count on the ballot statements reconcile with the count with the EIMS, since it's the same ballots?
No.
Well, let me finish my question. Same ballots are coming in the door, right? Right? They're coming in the door through the post office, they're coming in the door through the vote centers, they're coming in the door through the drop boxes, same number of ballots, right? And then those ballots then are entered into the EIMS system. And I guess they're entered in, at the vote centers, are entered in with signature verification. Shouldn't the same number of ballots that come in the door be the same number reflected in EIMS?
I'll ask you a question.
Okay,
Do you think every one of those USP ballots make it past signature verification? Or
No.
make it,
no.
there you go.
So,
Then they don't.
so it would be, so the ballots on here would be less
Correct.
than the ballots that come in through the door, because not all those ballots are certified or
Correct.
are accepted.
Correct.
And you guys account for those. You tell us at the end how many ballots were not, how many ballots were rejected.
Mhm.
So if you take those ballots that were rejected, take the ballots that came in through the door.
Yeah.
Why would that not equal the ballots on the?
Because as I explained to you before, the ballot statement reports are pretty unreliable
Now, let me push back on that. How do you know they're unreliable?
because they're done by humans,
But have you ever,
handwritten.
but have you ever checked? Have you
Yes.
ever checked?
That's why we don't rely on those.
Okay, well, let me ask this question then. Which vote centers have the errors? Is it Wildemar? Is it? Now, if you don't know that, then how can you tell us that there are errors at the vote centers if you haven't gone to the vote centers? Because we've watched the vote centers, and at the vote centers, we think Alice does a really good job
Right.
at having.
No,
people
and I think our poll workers do a tremendous job.
Then why are you saying that it's errors that, what due diligence have you done? Tell me.
So just
how you know
anecdotally,
that.
because we don't deep dive into them because they're not.
So maybe your assumption is not correct because you haven't looked.
Well, you're
the
assuming
vote
that
center.
those aren't correct though.
I'm assuming that the
So
vote
that's
center
your
number is
assumption is
correct because we've watched them.
Yeah, but that's anecdotal. To watch someone, I mean, mine are hard figures
Well-
that have been computer generated, data entered into it.
How do you know the computer is correct if you don't reconcile with the vote center numbers?
So
The
if I may just make a comment. So Mr. Langworthy, I just want to point to the fact that the ROV does follow California Elections Code. One of the requirements is to reconcile the number of ballots cast at these vote centers with the number of signatures. And that analysis we provided to you and your team so that you can analyze that. And that's why I use the roster audit, because we further analyze how many ballots were cast versus how many signatures. We manually analyze all of that. And that's why we don't use anything else. So as far as the ballot statements, we reference it. But because of historical knowledge, we know that the ballot statements, in some cases, they might be accurate. In other cases, they are just unfortunate, they are not. Especially when you have a large election, when you have a large number or volume of ballots coming through. That's why I rely on a roster audit to be able to analyze deeper where the variances are. Hopefully that helps.
Okay, well, I'll move on from that. So you are relying on the accuracy using the roster audit. Okay, so here's my next question then. Well, I'll give somebody else a question, then come back to me. Anybody else have a question? All right, I'll keep going. I will keep going. So anyway, thank you, Art and Matt, for giving us the opportunity to ask questions. So that's my one comment. All right, so when we are trying to reconcile, we have a system, a standard operating procedure. Our team has a standard operating procedure for reconciling the number of ballots cast with the number of votes counted. Do you now have your standard operating procedure written for us? As you committed at the April 10th meeting that, hey, you're almost done writing your standard operating procedure for how you guys reconcile. So we've observed it, but we haven't seen anything written. Do you guys have a written procedure?
Or do you want to take that one?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Langworthy. So at the moment, we do not yet have a final SOP. I appreciate your understanding of how busy we've been over the last several months, and we had a very, very quick turnaround with this August election. And it was like, for us, it was surprise, surprise, you're conducting elections in the next 3 months. So give us an opportunity to continue working on that, and we will make sure that we get a finalized SOP no later than the end of this year, so that it gives us an opportunity to hopefully pilot it in November if we do have an election. So my goal is to get most of this concluded so that you folks do have something in writing as to how we go about our processes.
Yep. Yeah, I appreciate that. You guys have been very busy. So I guess that's my one. I'll just kind of give this as a comment, because as I understand it, that your answer for the discrepancy that we found in the 2024 election of 33,888 ballots difference between the number of ballots that we could account for with your own ballot statements and the number of votes counted by your vote counting system was because election workers made a number of mistakes on the ballot statement, so the numbers on the ballot statements could not be trusted. As I understand it, that was your explanation. Drew?
Yeah, and we didn't check your math or anything like that. I didn't review
Okay.
any of
Yeah,
that.
well, I invite you to check it. We could give it to you. But here's kind of my challenge. If that is true, if those election workers somehow miscounted 33,888 ballots, I think you need evidence for that. You know what?
Right.
Because there were only
So I'm going to counter.
there were only about 150,000 ballots, in-person ballots at the vote centers. Anyway, did you
Right.
do your
So-
due
so I'm gonna-
diligence and look into that?
I'm going
Go
to
ahead.
counter your assertion, the 33,000 number. If you look, and you can look at the summary, where are they? Because you can see how many registered voters there are and how many ballots cast in those districts. 33,000 is a lot, and it would push some of those over, don't you think? So where are they? I'm,
Well, here,
That's our question. Where are they?
well,
Where are they?
well, they would bear out, sir. You would see the vote. You would see turnout over eclipse
Okay,
registration, right?
but
in a number that big.
but the physical ballots
Hold on,
add up.
hold on.
What's counted at
So,
the end
so if you
does
look,
not.
if you look at what's turned out, how many registered voters are in that area? Why haven't the turnout eclipsed the registered voters?
I don't know.
There's so
Why?
many. Well, that's not answering my question.
Okay, but wait, but
It's not there. You're
Okay.
talking about evidence is not there.
well, if they have counted a certain amount of ballots and the results equal to more ballots than what the paper, then really isn't it now on your shoulders to answer the question?
We
why
have,
does that
we've
happen?
had demonstrated our methodology to compare
Well, you just,
turnout to
I understand that,
returns.
but
Okay. Thank you.
there's more ballots there's less paper ballots than what were counted. And we're trying
More
to
or
find out,
less.
we're just trying to find out the truth. There's more ballots that were counted than the paper to prove it.
Yeah, no, we've demonstrated and we can show that that's not the case.
But that's an open question.
So anyway, that would be
And
my question.
I'd
is-
like to just chime in on that. Thank you for that question. This is Art. I just want to point out too that we conduct a 1% manual tally process, and you're all invited to that. Appreciate that you do come out and see that, but we go above just 1%. We touch every contest, and we should be able to see the variances if
Right.
indeed there were missing or we were over ballots. The other point I want to make is we also conducted 3 recounts during December of 2024, and none
have to
of
hit
those recounts showed that there were any ballots over or missing within those 3 jurisdictions that we recounted. And we manually recount ballot 1 by one. So I just want to make that comment. Matt, you had another follow-up.
No, thank you, Art.
Yep,
meant
and
to
Art,
counts.
I am going to say, yeah, that helps your argument. What doesn't help your argument is that we have the paper receipts for the number of ballots that were counted by the election workers, and that number doesn't, yes. Okay.
Do appreciate every single question, and you know
So
I'm
ma-
trying to get back to you with every answer, but I just want to make sure we stay on track because we only have an hour
Okay.
to make sure that we get through this, and we do have other members here for that purpose.
Okay, so let me, I'll ask one more brief one and then hand it over to, does anybody else have questions? Yep. Yep, I'm going to focus on that, Elizabeth. Thank you for interrupting me. For keeping me on track. Okay, so one last question. Would it, I'm going to get, in this election, it's going to be Dominion, of course, it's going to be counting the ballots. And the question is would the ROV be open to having RCIT, the Riverside County Election and the Riverside County IT team, come in and check the system for internet connections? Just to kind of take that issue off the table. Go ahead.
So RCIT did just check that for internet connectivity
For internet connectivity, but
and network
I think Jim's
connectivity.
could,
I think Greg's asking if we could do the physical inspection.
That
I'll
would be
follow
something
up with
county
Mr.
council.
Trindle and see. I think I've got an email from him that said that was acceptable, and I'll go take a look. If not, I'll ask him again.
Yes, please. Thank you.
that's it. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks.
And Art, thank you too.
Of course, thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
Elizabeth.
joining us this morning to both LNA and this opportunity for the AD 63 overview. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Anyone online have any questions, comments? Okay, well, this concludes it, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Alice Kim, our Chief Deputy overseeing operations, and we'll get a demonstration of our vote center. She'll explain.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good morning. So we are now turning over to, as Matt explained in the presentation, voters have options, right? They have options to return their ballot through the mail. They can drop it off at a drop-off location. We have 23 this election. That includes the ROV. But then they also have the option to go to the vote centers. And we have 13 in total. That includes the ROV, and ROV opens starting Monday. But on my right and your left, we have just a setup of a vote center if you would like to take a look. We're going to just do kind of a Hollywood acting here of our vote center team, comprised of our trainers and our training team to check in several vote versions of different voters dropping off their mail or voting at a vote center. So I'm going to hand it off to the team and take a look.
So for those who have been here before, this is the same movie, but I see new faces. So hopefully this offers some insight. But I will be the greeter for today. And we have our voters in line. So, hi. Are you here to vote in our vote center?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I just need you to fill out this ballot request form. You can step to the side, and as soon as you're done, just come back to me. Okay? Is there anybody in line who's here to drop off their ballot? Okay, can you come forward? Is this your ballot or somebody else's? Okay, can I just verify you've signed it? Perfect, I see that. You can drop it in here. And here's your sticker.
Thank you.
Thank you for voting. All done? Okay, looks good. I'm just gonna take it off of the clipboard. Actually, can you help me out there? Thank you. And then I'm gonna hand you off to Laura. She's gonna take you to the processing table.
Good morning. How are you? Ashley's going to help you here.
All righty, give me one quick second, pull you up in our system.
All righty. And how would you like to mark your paper ballot today? With the ballot marking device or by pen?
My pen, please.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to have you sign the first available line on this roster, please. All righty, and let me give you a secrecy sleeve. And then can I get a BOD? Thank you. Laura will take care of you.
Thank you. Forgot about that. Come on over. Let me print out a ballot for you. So I'm pulling this up based on your precinct. And then we're going to verify it to make sure that I printed out the correct ballot. Do you hold this or the other? All right, 1001.
1001.
Okay, it's a good ballot. Here, let you put this in your secrecy sleeve. And then I'll take you over so you can fill out your ballot. So here you are. If you have any questions, let me know. And when you're finished, I'll take you to cast your ballot. Okay, you want to come over here and you can just drop your ballot in there and I'll take your secrecy sleeve. There you go. There's your sticker.
Thank you.
And have a good day.
All right, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. So you just saw a demonstration of a voter who didn't have to stand in line, just wanted to drop off their mail ballot. They don't have to wait for all the other voters in line, which makes the process go by quicker. And then you also saw a demonstration of a voter who wanted to vote using a ballot from the BOD and dropping their ballot on into the blue ballot box. So Jim, you did say you wanted to ask a question in that process we just viewed?
Don't want to sign.
It's for the people online.
Sure. Sometimes folks don't want to sign the roster for some strange reason, but they did obviously sign their request card. What do you do in that scenario when they don't want to sign the roster?
We just need one wet signature. So as long as we have the ballot request or on the roster itself, that suffices the requirement. On the blank itself, we do write voter refused to sign, but we have one or the other. So that will,
So you still have an entry in the roster said just refuse to sign.
yeah, we
So
do.
see you've accounted for it.
We do write something on there. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I don't think we have any other demonstrations.
The software that you check for voter registration and signature, that's EIMS.
Yes.
Is that software part of the Dominion package or was it a separate package, separate software?
It's a separate software it's called DFM. I don't know what theirs stands for.
So was that software certified as part of the Dominion package?
No, not associated with Dominion. They're their own entity.
So how do you know that software is doing what it's supposed to do?
Yeah.
So as far as validating that package, Sacramento, when you got the Dominion system, they supposedly went through and looked at the software and made sure everything's good. Was there an activity like that for the EIMS package?
Yeah, I don't know if it was in the same vein, but when all counties had to join VoteCal, they needed certain specifications in DIMS, which we don't have. LA County uses DIMS and a couple other counties. San Diego County uses DIMS. And then EIMS had to go along with that certification to be able to communicate with VoteCal.
So is DIMS the certification process for that software?
No, DIMS is the separate
Is
company.
another
So
package.
DIMS is the database company, another database company.
Okay.
We use IMS DFM for our database.
Okay, so as far as certifying the EIMS package, is it clear who took that, who did that work? Do you know?
We can look into it, but I believe VoteCal, when they joined VoteCal, there was a certification process.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
At what we do provide at a vote center, you're more than welcome to do so. I do suggest for you to take a look at our poster board. There's a lot of information on there for voters when they do arrive. You can not only see where other vote centers or vote by mail drop-off locations are, but you can also see kind of the observers do's and don'ts that you've seen in the presentation provided for each vote center at the poster board as well.
Quick question. Can you describe for us, what is the purpose of the roster audit?
So we do a 1-to-1 check of making sure a voter who came to a vote center, they're telling us that they came and then they signed, right? What
Yep.
Jim said.
Yep.
And then we check them into our system,
Right.
marking that they came and they voted, right? So there is that 1-to-1 check that we want to do.
So you're just matching the signature with the in-person ballot.
Right. Well, we're checking it against the system, not the physical ballot itself.
Seeing if the EIMS matches.
Correct.
Does
Then
it-
it'll reflect
Got it.
the check-ins at the vote center.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, Alice.
I've looked at a recent roster audit and I found numerous errors where the count for the request cards didn't match the number of signatures on the roster, which didn't match the number of ballots on a ballot statement. Numerous counts, +2, -6. I saw one where you were off by 60. But Art had mentioned that you're using the roster audit to help you reconcile votes cast, votes counted. So if you've got all those errors in the roster audit, what are you doing to reconcile those numbers to see if you've got the right counts?
I mean, we can talk about it in more detail at a later time because I do want to keep this within the hour, but we definitely can talk to you guys about that in a.
If we look at some examples,
Different
that would
setting.
be useful instead of just generalizing. And
We
we
can-
can do it another time.
Yes, let's do it at another time. Any other questions for the EOP? Miguel's checking. No, okay. Well, that concludes our demonstration. I'm going to hand it back over to Matt to close us up.
All right, this concludes the election observer panel. We hope to see some of you out here at our facility or at a vote center or at a drop-off location. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, general line, a general email, and then all the materials you'll need are in the back, or if you didn't get handed out to them. So we'll see you out there and have a happy election. Thank you.